Oh, all right. Take two on this. Now let me find the live stream and get that going.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you like my earrings? Yes.
Hey, what earrings do you have there? Are
Little
those the Christmas
Christmas
tree?
tree still. I'm
Oh,
like,
I
it's the
love.
holiday season. I have to wear them because
All
okay.
right, Orion. You gotta be quiet. My poor dog here, he's just like, oh, pay attention to me. Orion, we're gonna play after this, so it's gonna be okay.
Like my toddler.
Uh-huh. Everyone wants attention right now. Yep. Okay, preparing live stream. I think it's working. Let me go on Facebook.
Yep. Let's see.
Aha, it reports you as live. Beautiful.
I don't see it yet on my side. I'm gonna make sure I can mute myself before we get going. Yep, there we are. Okay, actually, I think we're okay.
I think we are.
Yeah, I
Okay.
don't hear lots of echoes.
Yeah, I don't hear the echoes. So, hello. Like, so if anybody was like on the first live stream, like there was like all this echoing and everything, I think because yeah, it was so funny. I think because I don't even know what was going on with like sharing the audio, but it was like this crazy loop of echoes. It was so funny. I'm like, oh no.
Was like a triplicate echo. It was like, oh, like what is going? Yeah, that was fun. So
Yeah,
take two. Love technology. I think technology won us half a point. Okay, we'll get there.
we will. We will. But good morning, everybody.
Morning, good morning, good afternoon if you're in other parts of the world. But welcome, happy Saturday. I think that's where we can
Yeah.
really say for the most part.
Yep. Happy Saturday. Welcome to another wealth chat, a new era wealth chat with Hannah and I.
Yes.
I love it. I love it. Oh no, Hannah, you're muted. You've been taken away from us.
Okay.
There we go.
My all right. My toddler is having a moment there. Okay.
Okay, these things happen. So we're having a very raw, unfiltered session today because
Yes.
poor Hannah here, well, not poor Hannah. I mean, this was awesome what she did. So, I mean, she had a very busy night last night and there was some craziness happening with all the babies on shift. So,
Just seeing 24 hours with yeah,
hmm
the whole time. But it's good. We're here back and it didn't we had a snowstorm coming in on the eastern
Yeah.
seaboard, so but we didn't really get a lot of snow because I was kind of concerned about driving home today. We had chatted about that yesterday actually.
hmm
But thankfully just a wee bit of ice that wasn't really like it started melting. So like thankfully it wasn't bad getting home. So that's I'm always grateful for that.
That is a relief. It was funny. I was looking like out your like background window here. I was like, wait, I don't see snow. I was like, okay,
Nope.
good. Like looks like there wasn't the danger of the snowstorm.
Yeah, had a little bit of ice, I think, like here, but yeah, that's about it.
Gotcha.
Uh,
Gotcha.
well, how is everybody feeling after the holidays? Well, we're almost all the way through the holidays, right? Getting
hmm
there. But
Yeah. Well, it's been a pretty action-packed time, and it's an interesting year. Like, I feel like there's just a lot of different, I don't know, like movements happening right now. And so you have the holidays happening, and then obviously there's the other stuff that we're working on. I feel like everyone's working on different things, and world's just in movement and motion, and so it's a great time. But there's been a lot of fun. How are your holidays, Hannah?
they were great. It was time with family, and I think that's I'm just so grateful for that. Like that's the priceless thing. Like I shared on Christmas morning, I just got up a little early before everybody else. And it was just that beautiful like stillness of the house before everybody had gotten up. And it's like the twinkle lights playing, right? And it's just so grateful for the moments, like and just knowing like what this season is about and like being so grateful for it. And so yeah, it was good. And then we just had a great day of like being with family and playing games and like like some loud fun and like it was great. It was great. So I'm
Mm.
so very grateful for it. It's just a lot of time with family and stuff, but it's the stuff that matters.
It
So
is. Yeah, same. Like it was a lot of time with family and obviously folks, like we want to hear what you guys did for the holidays because it's fun to hear what people's traditions are and just like how did you spend the holidays? Like it was funny because, I think the week prior to the Christmas holiday, if you're celebrating Hanukkah, if you're celebrating some other holiday, let us know. Like I love hearing about it. But it was fun. I was asking people, I was like, "Hey, what are you going to be doing next week?" And I feel like for the most part, people were telling me they're like, "I'm just chilling." Like I'm not doing anything. And I was like, that actually sounds, pretty swell. That sounds great. And I mean, my holidays were pretty chill too. Like they were fun and like I don't know if they were chill, I guess. Like there was a lot of running around, but it was so much fun. I got to spend time with my family and then we went to my boyfriend's family's house and that was so fun. With my family, it was definitely rowdy. And if you guys are watching this, like, why? Because we had some wicked, game nights and everything in between. And
Same
so,
here.
oh gosh, I tell you, I don't know how anyone else's family is. My family, like, we got absolutely wretched sportsmanship. So game night gets ugly. And so the
It's
holidays bring
intense,
it out.
right? Yeah.
Yep, yep. We always get a game. And so I gave my little brother, like, I gave him a game called Millborn, if anyone's played
Hmm.
that, 1,000 miles. It's a French card game where you have to get to 1,000 miles and you, of course, can like throw down flat tires and accidents on people. Anyway, it's a
That sounds
fabulous
fun. Okay. Melbourne? Melbourne.
Millborn. Yeah, it's Mille, so the French word for 1,000 and everything, and then
Oh,
born. I think that's a mile. I don't
yeah.
even know. I need to
Okay.
scrub up
I'll
on
just
my
look it
French
up.
here.
We love a good game here. So like all about that. Yeah, we got a whole bookcase over here of games. So
You guys have Machi Koro?
no. Okay. I'm gonna take notes on these things. I'm gonna get those.
Japanese city building. And we promise we're getting to New Era wealth chats here, but like this is important stuff, okay? Like this is all
That's
part of
the
the
important
like
stuff.
all part of the world. But if anyone is looking for a great game, and actually, okay, like I have to add this on just because this like we're talking about wealth and everything. Oh gosh. Okay, Hannah, I'm sorry. This is like a whole nother like topic coming into this. Like it's an aspect of wealth. Gamifying things. Like, okay, so I have to say the game Machikoro, and this is why like this all like comes up. So for anyone, and actually I hope my like National Guard team that I, worked with on deployment. So we were all locked in a box for like the last year together. It was so funny. And on our night shifts, we had the chance to, play games to try and, stay awake and like do cool stuff. And
Yeah.
our favorite game in the world was Machikoro. Because, well, actually, I don't know. Maybe I thought it was our favorite game in the world. I thought it was the coolest game. And we would be absolutely wretched to each other and just like, oh my gosh. It's kind of like Monopoly, but Japanese city building game. And so you can build flower shops, you can have a tuna boat fleet, and all these things generate income in different ways. And then you can also tax people. So there's a tax office card where you go and take like half a person's coins if they have a certain amount.
Gosh.
And then there's the private club option, where someone can come to your club and then you take all of their coins and stuff.
Oh my God.
And oh my gosh, I'm telling you, Hannah, like if you don't have this game, go out and buy it for your family right now.
Yeah, I
Like,
think I'm gonna have to go get it.
and I bring this up, folks, like, I'm sharing this with everyone because I'm like, dude, this is like the world's funnest game. And it's so utterly silly and ridiculous. The things that you can do to each other and the way that you can build money. Because ultimately, you're trying to build your city. You're trying to build your airport, your radio tower, your amusement park, your harbor, your
For sure.
city hall, whatever. Like you have to build these different things, and so you need money for that. So you have to generate money, and so you like get these little establishments and stuff that are
I love it. Like, what a great way, like, again, gamifying, but it's
money.
but
Yeah,
like Monopoly, right? Yeah, exactly. No, I love it. Okay, we're
yeah,
gonna have to get it and play with that one.
right.
But multiple streams of income. Gotta get it set up.
Multiple streams of income. And this goes back into a tax conference that I got to go to earlier this year, where the organizers and stuff brought up, a concept that I think, probably came maybe from Robert Kiyosaki as well. And I'm sure it's pretty well known around the world. And I know you and I talk about this, the difference between being a creator and a producer. And,
Mm,
or I'm sorry, a creator and a consumer, really. So, like, there's really
okay.
two types of people in the world, right? Like, so we can be consumers, we can be creators, like producers, like who produce things for the consumers. And neither is right or wrong. It's just like it just is. But what I loved about this conference was how they gamified it. And they came up with different games to help kind of teach these concepts. And so I'm always looking for fun games that just kind of teach things, about
Yeah,
life and all that. And Machi Koro is probably one of the funnest ones. So I
I
just
love
had to go down that rabbit hole just for a moment. So
I
for
love
any, yeah.
it.
So if you guys are late, and looking for a holiday gift or something, consider that because
Have New Year's Eve coming up, right? That's a
yes,
good time for like playing games and stuff as you're trying to stay awake until midnight. So yeah, that's a good one.
exactly.
Yeah, I
Well,
love
and as we're coming into this new year, which I want to ask you, Hannah, like maybe some of the thought process like that you're going through right now. I don't know what your thoughts are coming into this new year. I know we chatted about it a little bit last year, but now that we're kind of like sort of past like the big holiday, like for us, if you guys are still like in the midst of your holidays, like I hope you're having fun. But like as we're coming into this new year, like there's things to consider and like I'm sure we're all kind of taking stock of our lives. Like it's just that natural time of the year.
Yeah.
And it's wonderful too. Like I love it. But it's like, what do you want 2026 to look like?
Right.
And the more I think that we can make things kind of, I don't know if lighthearted's the word, but like when we kind of treat things like a game in a sense, like not to say like don't take things seriously, but it's kind of like it's easy to get heavy. And
Mm.
it can be kind of heavy around this time of year a little bit sometimes. Like, there's just like it's the end of the year, so we are naturally getting a little more serious. And so it's like, let's get lighthearted and just see like if you could wave a magic wand, like how would your 2026 look like?
Yeah, it's all about that dreaming, which I love that. And I love doing that with um in many different forms, but especially in money too, right? Like it's part of like my
Mhm.
icon method, like framework that I created. It's like, checking your identity and your calling, but a lot of that is tapping into those desires, those dreams that you have, and like really sitting with that and like exploring it and getting really detailed about it. And like, what do you desire for your life? And then be intentional about creating it. Because I think the danger is when we just kind of meander through life or just kind of like, well, passively, like, well, life just happens. That's not, I mean, it will just happen, right? But you can actually be an active participant in co-creating the life that you desire. I say like creating lives that we are wildly in love with, right? And that is what I'm doing. And that is what I am working with women who are doing the same thing. And that's why we're trying to build with this is for men and women. I gotta keep putting the men in there.
I
Um,
know. We love you guys. We love you. We do.
Because we're building a movement of men and women, of families who are living intentionally. We're no longer just like, passively floating through life and letting us being bounced around like a pinball machine, right? No, like we're like steering. We're steering the boat, right? We're kind of course correcting and we're doing the things and we have a trajectory. We have like a point where we'd like to be. Of course, things will adjust as we go along, but we have an end goal in sight, and that gives you something to go towards, right? And I think I know for myself, like I'm asking deeper questions about these things, right? I'm asking questions about money, about like what do I want it to be? And like I see this kind of rising and women in particular, again, because that's what I'm working with. But I think I see it in men and women who are being very intentional and seeing the changes that are coming on the horizon and preparing themselves so they aren't just taken out by it, right? Again, we talked about positioning and things like that in the past. But there's a lot of change happening in so many different parts of life, but in the finances in particular, right? And how things are being allowed to be utilized, how we're able to access and use our money is being quietly changed. And I think it's really important that we're paying attention to these things and asking questions and positioning ourselves so that we aren't left high and dry, wondering what happened when the rug is taken out from underneath our feet, right? And again, also just thinking not even just in terms of next year, 2026, but like let's think even bigger, broader, like in decades, right? And like spans of time, right? Like how are we changing the way our family approaches or does wealth, right? What does it mean to build like a system, a financial ecosystem for your family that supports your life and how you want to live it, right? Not just being taken out by the unexpected all the time or like not knowing how, like, let's be stewards of these things in our families and in our own lives.
Oh, I love that. That's also wonderful. So there's a lot of, there's so much to unpack in all of that you just said, Hannah. And I love this, like being very conscious around your wealth architecture and just, and actually even for, I guess, stepping even further back to kind of what we talked a little bit to, in the last session where you were talking about wealth as WELL, wealth and how there are so many different pieces. And so, like you were saying, like as we're getting conscious about what do we want things to look like, and how do you want your wealth to look like, there's so many different parts to that. And something I was wondering while you were talking, I guess, was are there questions or is there like a way that helps you kind of tap into since we are kind of looking at 2026 right now, right? And, I think everybody wants to really take stock, what do I want my year to look like and how do I want life to look like? Are there things, guidelines, questions, are there things that help you step more fully into your wealth and like how do you want that to look? So are there things that help you kind of answer that question or expand on that and help you kind of get inspired to like step into that and feel uh, more of yourself so that you can answer that question of what do you want?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think it really does come back to that, like really tapping into my identity and knowing who I am and what
Mm,
I've been here to do. So it's identity and that calling piece, right? And keeping that forefront. So like I do things like I get myself in rooms where other people are talking about these things that I'm interested in, right? Like about let's we're going to talk about finances. Let's talk about that. Like I'm learning actively always. Like I'm getting myself in the rooms of people who are doing the things that I'm interested in doing and even greater, right? Like their goals or they're at levels that I'm not even at yet, but I'm, working to get there. I'm getting around these kind of people so I can learn from them. Because, if you're wanting to get to a new level and everybody around you is at your level or below, you have to put yourself in new spaces, right? Because there's just different perspectives and different things to learn. Not that it's a wrong thing to be where you're at the level you're at. That's not, right? Like, be grateful for where you're at. When we talk about the gap and the gain, understand and recognize and be grateful for the gain that you're in, like where you've reached in life. But if you have a desire to go further, then you need to put yourself in different spaces where there's a further to reach, right? Where other people have reached that. And like I said, and above, right? So, like, really intentionally getting myself in spaces with others who are doing what I want to do and are already there or are way far ahead, right? Because you learn things, you get new perspectives, things you didn't even know you didn't know or needed to know, right? That is so key. So I'm definitely doing that in 2026. Actively building and creating an ecosystem both in my business and my life and for my family and my family's future, and just even my personal wealth, like multiple streams of income, different ways of doing things in a way that is bringing ease, right? I don't want to just put, another hustle grind thing. We've talked about this before too, right? But I'm not just here to like add another thing onto my already full plate because my gosh, I have a full plate. I just came off a 24-hour shift and I have like maybe 2 hours of sleep in that whole time. And I don't want to add just another thing on top of my life. I'm a busy woman, right? But I want to work on improving my life. I'm not staying stuck at just where I'm at. And I've got beautiful avenues of doing that, right? And we've talked about a lot of different opportunities, but one in particular is Wi-Fi. And I am wholeheartedly sharing that because it is such an opportunity. The whole concept of geo banking and having access to this new wave of the merging, essentially, of traditional fiat money and crypto and being able to utilize that in a way that you can control and have access to your own money, that's a big, big deal. And I'm sure that you and I are going to talk more about that in the next, time coming up because this is not just the new wave of the future. It's also something you need to be aware of as a sovereign person in your own life. Because unless you're fine with, whatever government out there and person out there telling you what you can and cannot do with your money and controlling it for you, that's not me. So I think it's really, really important that just for wisdom and protection of your own wealth and your own future, your family's future, is that you need to be aware of these things and learning about them, right? And again, I'm not about fear mongering, but I am about being aware and being educated and like intelligently making decisions to protect and provide for my family and myself.
Yes, ma'am. Oh my gosh, I love this. So this is a very exciting time. And like you said, we do love Wi-Fi. Like I think there are so many different ways to earn wealth. And like you said, you have so many different avenues and you are a busy person. You're not looking for just one other thing, but you're looking for things that put you in the right position and that you can benefit from in that way. And we are in such a time for that. And that one project that you mentioned, Wi-Fi, that we're both loving right now, decentralized banking, DeFi, DEO banking, it is one of those streams. And it is one of those where you want to position yourself now because it is a wave. And it's a pretty big wave because it is making use, it's making use of some really large technologies right now. And so it's changing the way things are done. And so it is something that people want to consider right now. And I think, and actually, something, I guess, just to let people know, there are some calls happening right now. So there will be, today at 2 o'clock, there is one happening. And so, join in if you're curious. But
Drop
something you said really, what was that?
comment. Don't forget, we'll drop the link in the comments as
We'll
well.
drop the link. Yeah. And we'll kind of, report times and stuff, so that people can learn more about it. But something you said in there, Hannah, for the sovereign being. So for someone, there's so much information out there today. Like there's so many different things we could be doing. But, anyway, and so it's like there's different ways to earn wealth. And so this is definitely a way. And but the idea of sovereignty is such a huge thing. You know, we hear the term financial freedom thrown out quite a bit. And I love that term. I've always loved that term. And I think as I've broken it down and been like, why do I love the term financial freedom? You know, like, why does that matter? It's because that idea of sovereignty,
Mm,
which isn't just necessarily, you know, finances, it's not in one area, but it's kind of a way of being. You know, I think it's a much larger concept that people want to put into their lives. And I think if most people consider what it looks like, they can probably agree that they want that. And so I'm curious, you know, what does sovereignty look like to you, Hannah? Like, what does that mean? And obviously here, like with a particular emphasis, what does it look like, you know, for finances and all that?
yeah. So, yeah, I do love the word sovereign as well, right? But the like the simple definition of sovereignty is it's the ultimate like rule making power over your own life. And in this case, we're talking about, without having outside interference, right? Like the ability to self-govern. um and in this case we're talking about finances, but like your own life, your family, that kind of thing, but like your own finances, right? And again, like I mentioned earlier, like it's such a big thing. Like, I don't know about you, but I work really hard for my money and income, and I want to be able to direct it to where I want it to be without someone else telling me what I can and cannot do, right? Or be able to access it when I need it for my family without having to like go through hoops or pay extraordinary fees for it, or like wait for it to be cleared by someone else, right?
Mhm.
Why is that? Like, why is that I have, right? That's something that I'm very, I want to say passionate about, I guess maybe. But like I don't think that's right that a bank or a government or whoever is in control of my money that I'm working for just because I place it inside an account with them to hold, right? And I think, a lot of us had some of the naivete of um, life is just going to roll the way it does, going through a worldwide pandemic, right? We saw so many things that were just the way it always is, or whatever, like be stripped away, and or suddenly it just wasn't that way anymore. And that was a big shift for me, as I've always been a free thinker. But like when I saw all of a sudden things just on the whim were like rules were made or things were changed or whatever, I was like, wow, it was very sobering,
Mhm.
right? And there was a book I had read a couple of years before that, and it was it was a kind of a heavy read, so I don't know if you wanted to get into it, but it was about the rise of the sovereign state, that things were
Mhm.
shifting, right? It was no longer being about like big governments, but more about like the smaller entities, or like in the years past, and it was like more. I want to say like fiefdom, like there was like, like you had a lot of kings or chiefs or whatever, but like they had their own little like space like that they controlled, right? It wasn't about these massive, massive governments. It was a lot smaller. And or as we could say today, like a family unit who has their own family bank and things like that, and it rules their own, right? Like the wellness of that entity.
Mhm.
And so for me, that's kind of what I am trying to get back to, is the ability to self-govern our own, steward our own wellness and wealth, right? For my family, for my generations. However that is. And obviously you still are interacting with governments and things like that. It's not saying pull out, let rebel. That's not at all what I'm saying here. This is about having the ability to be sovereign in your own life and in your own choices.
Mhm. That is such a powerful concept to be sovereign. And I love, you know, and it's true. It's not about being, you know, rebellious. I mean, maybe rebellious in the sense of like thinking for yourself is quite a big thing to do. But it's not so much because it's the most rebellious thing we can do, you know, rebel, take over the government. Ah, you know,
Right.
that's
That's not what we're saying.
not what we're talking about. But what we are talking about is how powerful that is when you step into being the sovereign being in your life, which what that looks like is just what Hannah described, where you're able to take care of your needs. You're able to take care of your life. You're the one directing your life. Like that's what it means to be sovereign. You're deciding what is important for you, for your family, for your entity, whatever, you know, your entity is, you know, your family, your being, you know, your little apartment, your cat, your dog, whatever, you know, whatever that, you know, little kingdom
Whatever
is,
that circle is. Right. Exactly.
whatever that circle is, if it's just me, myself, and I, and that's actually where it starts. It's always
That's
with,
okay. Yeah. Yeah,
you
that's
know,
true.
it is true. You know, it's like it always starts with you, just you. And
Yeah.
so you decide to be sovereign. And what that looks like is what Hannah's describing. You decide what's important to you. What is your identity? What are the things that are important to you? What are those values? And then you decide, okay, well, if these are the things that are important to me, well, then you kind of extrapolate from that. Okay, well, then what does life look like after that? And it just grows on itself and builds and builds. And then, of course, it brings in other people into your life, because I don't care who you are, you have people in your life. Even if they may not be, blood relatives or whatever, but you have people in your life and, you're going to interact with them. You have relationships. And it's all kind of part of your kingdom building, part of being sovereign. It's like, hey, how do I carry myself and what do I want that life to look like? That's truly what it is about being sovereign. Your finances are part of that. How do you want your finances to look like? And, it's don't put those qualifiers on there of, oh, I would love this, but it's like, no, just start
No.
from a place of here's what I would create, here's what my kingdom looks like.
Yeah.
And, building the family bank, what does your family bank look like? Do you even know? Do you even have one? Do you have that concept in your head? And so I love this concept of sovereignty, Hannah. And yeah, if people want, read that book, but start really considering what it feels like and looks like for you to be sovereign. Starting now, I mean, gosh, you don't even need to wait for 2026. I mean, it's in a few days, so it doesn't
True
really
story.
matter. But it's like,
True story.
yeah, but start now. And there's ways to build that up. And I love the concept of the family bank. I think that goes into being sovereign because, obviously being sovereign means you're probably, financially, more or less have it together, or at least you have an idea of where your wealth is, where your financial resources are, and being more mindful about what you're doing with them and how they can support you. Maybe a little bit more mindful about how you can be bringing that in for yourself and those resources. And so we're just, we've mentioned our project, with the DO banking and everything, and we have information on that we'll give to you so you can join. There is an informational meeting happening today, Eastern Time, 2 p.m. And that's going to be happening daily until I believe December 31st. But get informed, figure out what does it look like for you to be sovereign. And I don't
Yeah.
know, I don't know if you have any other thoughts on that, Hannah, that you'd like to share, but
Yeah. I mean, just reinforcing it, like get curious about it. Like
yeah.
y you matter, right? What you desire matters, and you were given your dreams and your desires for a purpose. And I think again, that's a big part of my work, right? It's like I walk women through like, let's figure out who you are and what you're here to do. Because it's not just about, oh, I want um, my own wealth to be seller. Yes, I do. But it's also about what kind of impact are you here to make in the world? And that starts with you being resourced, right? And being able to be, again, sovereign with what you're doing. And so like, yeah, like this isn't, it's, I think people are like, oh, well, that, it's kind of self-centered. No, it's not about that. It's about so you can actually have the impact in the world that you were meant to have because that's already taken care of. Right.
Mhm.
Like this is not about like I need to obsess about my money and my finances. No, I want this to be running on autopilot so that I can go out and continue to pour into my family, my work, my community, my world that I am called to impact. Right. Like that is the point of all of this is to get that set up so I don't have to stress or worry or obsess
Mhm.
about paying bills and getting enough like that I want removed so that I can focus on, hey, who's the person in front of me who needs me and my interaction today, needs me to see them and be able to work with them without me having to worry about, oh my gosh, I gotta like pay, like that part is being removed, right? So that we can create impact because there's a lot of work to get done in this world. There's a lot of light to be shined, and that's what this is about. Um,
Yes.
and
Yes.
let's have fun doing it too, right? Like you said earlier, this is not about just the heavy, heavy, heavy. No, like let's have fun. Like this community that you and I are building, the next era wealth, like find us on Facebook, guys. Come on and get information, learn about it. But also we're creating a community of like fun, amazing people who are going to do fun, amazing things. Like I have such vision for this group. Like we're going to be having like conference, like get-togethers in the future, like retreats and things. Like we're going to have a great time as well as learning how to be sovereign and like being there, doing life together, all the things like pick your people who you want to do life with and bring them on board. Let's do this. Like, yes, we're all sovereign in our own things, but also like there is something about community and doing things together, like that energy of like collective energy of like doing the things and like knowing that we are building stability and like blessing into our family. And so we can then bless like our world. Like that's meaningful. And I think
Mhm.
we all want to be meaningful in whatever way that is for us. We want to leave an impact on the world, right? I think that's kind of it's like a part of our nature is like we want to actually do something good that will, hopefully outlast us, right? Be that building into our own like family, like, mothering our children, fathering our family, like whatever that is, or it's and is it like reaching our communities, reaching the world that we are called to? Like this is not just about making money. So, um, yes, we are wanting to make money, but there's also a bigger picture at hand as well.
Mm, that's beautiful. I love that. I think the only other thought I would add is just touching on what you said, Hannah, where it's not about being self-centered, but perhaps in the best of ways,
In the best of
where
ways.
in the
Yes.
best of ways, because you do need to be you.
Yeah.
And I think, what Hannah here is encouraging and what I would encourage too is it's being you in the best of ways because only you can be you. And you are important and you do matter and you are a piece of the pie. This is something I'm deeply passionate about that I want everyone to know on this planet is that you are a piece of the puzzle. And if you like when you choose to just be you, and to truly be the authentic you, that's when the magic starts happening in your life. When you're not looking to other people to, okay, I need to be more like this person. Okay, I need to be more like that person. Not that you can't emulate qualities, hey, here's what I love about this person. Okay, I want more of that in my life. But from your authentic self.
Yeah.
I think, oh gosh, it's like some old English saying or something, but what it says, whate'er thou art, do well thy part. And,
Ooh,
it's kind of a funny little saying, but I love it because it's, hey, whoever you are, be you. Like, be you to the utmost, because that truly is when the magic happens in life, and that's when you start to flow.
yeah.
Yeah,
100%.
pay attention to who you are, be you, and
Yep.
then start creating 2026 from that place. And
Yeah.
heck, if you need some ideas, whatever, talk to Hannah because that is her work, that's her life's work, and she loves that. And if you're looking for a way to build wealth architecture and, another stream of income, come talk to us. Hop on at
And
2
an
p.m.
amazing community while you're at it. Come on and
Yeah,
join us.
seriously. Well, I mean, it's like Hannah
No.
said, figure out who your people are. Who do you want to be doing
Yeah.
life with? Who do you want to play with? Because life is so much fun, and it's a heck of a lot more fun when it's in a community.
Yes.
So.
So excited. Like I'm just, uh, 2025 was a great year.
Yes.
'Cause I chose it to be that at the beginning of the year. And here we are at the end of this year. I'm like, wow, okay. But 2026 is exciting me even more than I was like, I feel it. Like 2026 is going to be just an incredible year. And I want as many people with me on that road, as you said, like let's do it in community. This is what that's about. So super excited about that. And yeah, reach out if you guys can come to that meeting today at 2 o'clock for the info about the WeFi, come on. But if that doesn't work for you, like it's every day, right? Every day that's into the 31st, we're doing one at 2 o'clock. But also like reach out to us, like send us a DM. We can chat with you as well. But yeah, it's great.
Wonderful.
It's great.
We're going to have more of these wealth chats helping you come into 2026. Not even helping you, but just like flowing with you. Like we're not interested in like helping necessarily, but like having fun with you. So,
Yeah.
and if it
On
helps,
time
cool.
with you.
But yeah,
Linking arms, having fun. Let's go
exactly.
skipping down the road.
I love it. Well, we're going to keep flowing and we're going to keep chatting, but we're going to hop off for now, I think.
All right, guys. Have a great rest of your day, evening, whatever it is. But happy Saturday.
Happy Saturday. And then we'll hop on and we'll see you at 2 p.m. hopefully.
Yes, yes. And
All
we'll
right.
drop it in the comments. That's right. Okay.
Mm.